In the last 24 hours, Kaspa, the KAS token, went up by 24%. It's leading the pack of the altcoins. Of course, all altcoins are going up, but Kaspa is going up more. Now, this channel has a history of covering Kaspa. The very first video was 2 months ago on the 9th of September, discussing the fundamentals of Kaspa. What's the tokenomics? What's the token ownership? What's the blockchain capable of? All of that is in this video. Feel free to check it out. I then followed up with a video how to potentially trade Kaspa, as in where to set potential stop losses, when to bet on rising and falling prices, based on a backtest, based on a simulation of buying and selling the KAS token. That's this video here. Now, the last video was on the relative valuation to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and this is where we will continue. This is the Kaspa price divided by the Bitcoin price. Now, why do we look at relative valuations to Bitcoin in the first place? The reason is we want to get outperformance over Bitcoin when we take on more risk than by simply buying Bitcoin, right? If you just want crypto exposure, you can simply just buy Bitcoin. But by taking on risk of a smaller coin, you want to see more performance. More risk should be rewarded with more performance. That's why we look at Kaspa relative to Bitcoin and not in the US dollar chart. And this is a very beautiful chart. A trend that's going up and a trend that still has potential. The upside relative to Bitcoin is still 160% roughly. Now, that's relative to Bitcoin, but I personally prefer relative valuation charts to Ethereum. Now, that's not because I like to hold Ethereum over Bitcoin. I actually prefer Bitcoin more. It's because of correlation. Because the question is always, the current price movements that we see in an altcoin, are they specific to the altcoin or are they specific to the general market? It's simply just Bitcoin and Ethereum going up, and that's why Kaspa is going up. We want to know the idiosyncratic movements, and in order to find those out, it's better to look at an asset that's more correlated to Kaspa. Now, correlation is a measure that finds out how much do two assets move in tandem to one another. When one asset goes up, how likely is it that the other asset is going up as well? If the likelihood is 100%, then the correlation coefficient is 1. If there is zero connection between asset A's price movement and asset B's price movement, then the correlation coefficient is 0. If the assets move always in opposite directions, so asset A goes up and then always asset B goes down, then the correlation coefficient is -1. So the closer we are to 1 in the correlation coefficient, the more two assets are correlated. And that's how we should adjust the price. By removing the factor that has most impact on the price, we distill those idiosyncratic movements of Kaspa the most. Now look at this. This is a correlation matrix. And it shows us correlation coefficients across different assets for the last 90 days. On the left, we've got various altcoins, Cardano, BNB, Ripple, Litecoin, Doge, etc. And we see how well are they correlated here on column 1 versus Bitcoin, or here on column 2 versus Ethereum. And look how those correlation coefficients tend to be higher on the right side, on the second column, relative to the left side, right? 0.77 is higher than 0.65. 0.81 is higher than 0.73, etc., etc. The only outlier here is XMR, is Monero, but for the rest, Ethereum is higher correlated to the altcoins than Bitcoin is. Thus, instead of looking at altcoin charts relative to Bitcoin, to really get the idiosyncratic movements of that altcoin, we should look at relative valuation to Ethereum. And this is the Kaspa chart relative to ETH. Not that different because Kaspa is pretty volatile. Here, the potential upside is a bit more, maybe 130% or so. Now let's also revisit the results of the last backtest video, where we determined the best moving averages for Kaspa. The 18-day exponential moving average tended to work the best. Here's again the US dollar chart, but this time with the best moving average, the best exponential moving average. So this is how we can set potential stop losses if we don't want to hold this token forever, if we want to have some kind of a buffer when things, at least temporarily, turn around. Currently, that EMA is at 8.1 cents roughly, and so we'd still be bullish even if Kaspa dropped roughly 30%. Simply because the current rally is so quick. Let us know what's your current plan with Kaspa. And in case you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to do so. I publish videos regularly. There's also a Telegram, link is down below.